Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Franco and welcome to Kneading with Franco. This is a YouTube channel where I'm gonna talk about pizza, bread and the world of baking in general. Today, I'm gonna show you how to make a proper Neapolitan style pizza, 63% hydration, with one of the most simple recipe that you can find out there. Trust me. I'm gonna guide you through the whole process, hand kneading, balling up, stretching face and cooking. Stay with me till the end to see this amazing result. So today we're gonna make a 63% hydration dough. So we're gonna start with 1 kilo of flour, 630 grams of cold water from the fridge. Actually, you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but there are still some places of ice because it's really, really cold. 30 grams of salt, which is roughly 3% of the total amount of flour, and 2 grams of fresh yeast. I'm gonna leave the ingredients in the description of the video for you as a recap. Let's start with the kneading process now. Follow me. Okay, so let's start by dissolving the yeast inside the water. Let's use a spoon for the whole process to make things easier for you. Gently stir with your spoon the water until all the yeast will be absorbed, and then start adding the flour bit by bit. Let's start with 5 spoons. It's important to add the flour bit by bit and not all at once, because we want to avoid creating any lumps, and also because it's important to oxygenate the flour. Continue stirring while you do this and keep on adding the flour bit by bit, not all at once, until you manage to create this consistency, which looks almost like a batter. Keep on stirring while you do this. When you see that the consistency looks like a batter, then it's time to add the salt. The salt has 2 different features. The first is that obviously it makes your dough savory, but the second one, and probably most important one, is that it helps you to create the gluten network, because in fact you're going to notice that after you add the salt and you start stirring, the consistency of the dough gets a little bit tougher compared to how it was before. Let's keep on stirring and keep on adding bit by bit the flour until we reach this consistency of the dough. At this point, it's pretty much not worth it anymore to keep on using the spoon. So let's leave it aside and let's start doing this other movement, which basically you take the dough, the outside of the dough, and you push it gently towards the center, almost like a folding. This is the right time for us to take the first break. So let's use a large dish and let's place it on top of the container and let it rest for 15 minutes. The autolyzer will do its job, and as you can see, it has already created the gluten network pretty much without us even touching the dough. So now let's keep on working with it. And since it's not sticky anymore, we can start transferring it onto the worktop so we can continue working on the worktop. And I want you to take a look at the movement that I am doing. I'm using my wrists and I am rolling the dough onto itself as if I was using a rolling pin almost. And I'm repeating the movement all and over again. I really want you to take a look at the movement closely. So I'm slowing down the video in order to show you the movements that I'm doing. I am rolling the dough over itself, and then at the end I'm flipping it over and repeat the movement again and again. This texture indicates that the dough is not smooth enough, which means that we need to keep on working a little bit with it. And we can use the slap and fold technique by lifting the dough from the worktop and slamming it again on top of the worktop just to make some roundings in order to make it smooth. After we do that, we cover it and we let it rest for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, the very first thing that we have to do is to detach the dough from the worktop because it got stuck a little bit. It's completely normal. If this happens, you can use a little bit of olive oil. And now this technique that I'm showing you, it's called the lamination. You basically try to tear the dough until it rips onto the worktop. And this technique is useful to incorporate some air inside the dough and also to make sure that the dough takes a lot of strength. If you're doing this, trust me, you're gonna transfer a lot of strength to your dough. So as you can see, I'm just basically enlarging it onto the worktop. And that's it. Make it larger. And then let's leave it for 1 minute. After 1 minute, you fold it onto itself. You fold it again. Keep on folding it. And now you just have to keep on working with it a little bit. Keep on hand kneading with the same technique. And you start noticing immediately that the dough is much, much better compared to how it was before. It suddenly incorporated so much air that you start noticing a lot of bubbles under your fingers. But also you notice that the more you work with it, the more you knead it, the smoother it becomes. Let's make some more slap and folds and some roundings in order to make the dough smoother. That's it. Gently push it towards yourself. This technique is called rounding. And let it rest for another 10 minutes. This is the final rest. After 10 minutes, I decided to do another lamination. So this is completely optional. Again, the lamination is used to give strength to your dough, to make sure that when you create the dough balls, they're not going to collapse. I just want to show you what the lamination did. Take a look at the gluten network. It started to get so strong thanks to the lamination. We managed to get the dough to a state where it's so strong and so full of air. Here we don't need to keep on kneading it for that long, because as you already see, it's basically ready. It's full of air and it's smooth enough. So just keep on working with it for another 2 or 3 minutes, and then just do some slap and fold until it's completely smooth. Here I just like to play with some air bubbles. We did an amazing job, because now when you touch the dough, you can see that your hands are completely clean, which means that it's smooth enough and it's time to go to the container. Here I'm using some spray oil. I'm spraying it on the bottom of the container. This facilitates the removal of the dough after the raising is done, because we're gonna do the raising at room temperature, but this is also useful when you do it at control temperature inside the fridge. I transfer the dough inside the container, and I'm gonna cover it with some cling film. This is essential in order not to create a crust. After your dough is covered, you leave it to rest for 18 hours. See you later for the balling up process.
Stop! Before that, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and if you're liking this video, hit the like button below.
This is our beautiful dough, this amazing dough after 18 hours of rest at room temperature. Now is the time to show you the balling up process. You start by sprinkling some semolina flour on the worktop, and you flip the container over in order to be able to detach the dough. The olive oil gave us a real hand here. Okay, so now we start cutting the dough in small pieces using the ice scraper. But before doing that, we sprinkle some semolina flour on top of the scale. So when you are putting the dough on top of it, it's not going to get stuck. And you weigh it until you reach the weight of 270 grams. We're going to create 6 dough balls, and I'm going to show you 2 different processes of balling up. After you finish weighing the dough and you reach the 270 grams, you started with the balling up process. As you can see, I'm folding the dough from the external part of the dough, and I'm pushing it gently towards the center. I'm getting closer to the camera so you can see the movement. After I finish that, I'm pinching the bottom of the dough to seal it completely. You want to seal it in order to trap all the gases of the fermentation. And that's it, done. I now want to show you a different technique of balling up. This is going to be much easier if you're not familiar with the first one.
And probably this is going to be the one that most of the people use. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite one, the first or the second one. The second one consists basically in rolling the dough multiple times, as you can see, and it's done. And at the end, just pinch the bottom of it in order to seal it, exactly like we did the very first time. And that's it. Even the second dough ball is created. Just pinch it and seal it so the gases of the fermentation are trapped. We're gonna leave the 6 dough balls to rest for 6 hours at room temperature. And there you go, these are the 6 dough balls after 6 hours at room temperature. Look at how airy they are. They are amazing. Look at that, they're so soft, just ready to be stretched. Now follow me for the stretching phase and cooking. Let's quickly have a look at the temperature. 476. I think we're ready. Let's help ourselves to remove the dough balls from the container by sprinkling some semolina flour, and let's use a scraper, a dough scraper, to remove it from the container. Let's move it and let's place it on top of a tray where I originally sprinkled a lot of semolina flour, some more on top of it. And what you want to do now is to push the air towards the edges of your dough ball. Gently pushing towards the edges in order to create your cornicione. If you follow this technique, your cornicione will be very, very pronounced. When you flip it over, be sure not to touch the cornicione at all, otherwise you're going to get rid of the air that you carefully managed to push to your edges. Do this multiple times until the cornicione is created, and then as a final stretch, you want to flip it onto your fists. And that's it. Your dough ball is stretched. Make sure to blow up some air bubbles, otherwise they're gonna get burnt during the cooking. Now let's add the sauce. Usually I use 3 or 4 spoons of sauce. I already added some basil, as you can see. And you lay it on top of your pizza. You add some mozzarella or whatever toppings you decided to use. In this case, I'm making a simple margherita. And you transfer your pizza on top of the pizza peel, making sure not to touch the edges because you don't want to ruin your cornicione. You give it a final stretch and you rearrange the toppings which have been moved in the meantime. There you go, so the mozzarella is more even. It's time to go to the oven. Let's launch it into the oven with a decisive movement. And let's watch it while it cooks. The cornicione is gently rising, as you can see. It's mesmerizing to see it. Look at that. It's growing really chubby. After 30 seconds of cooking, I'm using a turning peel to turn it over. And that's it. Our beautiful pizza is ready. Look at the chubby cornicione, it's fantastic. And as a final touch, let's add some basil leaves. Done. And now, the moment of truth. Let's cut the cornicione and let's make sure that it's soft and airy, so we can see also the internal structure. To cut the cornicione, I recommend to use this type of scissors for the simple reason that you spent a lot of time in order to try and make the perfect cornicione with the stretching face. You don't really want to ruin it using a normal cutter, you know? So let's proceed by doing that. Oh my god, I'm excited! Let's have a look! But it looks amazing already. Look at how chubby it is. Be careful. Oh my god, look at that. Look at that. You can see the spider web structure. This is the gluten network that did its amazing job. So during the kneading phase, we managed to create a very strong gluten network. Let's cut one slice. So you can see another perspective from, you can see the cornicione from another perspective. I really want you to have a look.
There is no trick, as you can see. It's all amazing. Look at this. Look at how soft, oh my God. And now, the moment that you guys were all waiting for, the tasting. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's, okay, I love this flour because it has an amazing taste, first of all. It doesn't need high hydration because this was just a 63% and it's just amazing. It's soft, but also I managed through the cooking to make this slightly charred crust, which is amazing. The combination is amazing.
Here, as a bonus, I'm showing you how to make a panuozzo. A panuozzo is basically like a panini, a sandwich, but with pizza dough. It has a completely different type of stretching. As you can see, we don't have to preserve the cornicione. So we start from the edges and we move towards the center, but we don't preserve any cornicione. We don't preserve any crust because we want to stretch it as if it is a panini, as if it is a sandwich. I'm using the slap technique here to make it larger, transfer it onto the pizza peel and launch it into the oven. And let's watch it raise. It's lifting off. That's it. Our panuozzo is ready. Look at how beautiful it is. Ready to be filled with all sorts of delicatessen.
And this was the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching it all. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel because lots of new content is coming up really soon for you. I'm excited. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button down there. And before you go, I want to ask you a very simple question. What is your favorite pizza topping for a Neapolitan style pizza? Please let me know in the comments below and see you next time.